This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. The Dubai flooding is proving to all of us how tribalistic people have become in their perspectives on what's going on in the world. It used to be, even as recently as a week ago, or even 5 days ago, or even in some cases today, it was more of a mindset of geoengineering, cloud seeding, the ability to manipulate the weather is a conspiracy theory. Anybody out there that's saying that that's a possibility is a tinfoil hat wearing nut job. Now, after this Dubai flood in the last 24 hours, we're seeing people and we're seeing the national news talking about cloud seeding and saying, no, it is real. Seeing these people out there that call us all crazy, we're seeing them say, no, we didn't say that they don't have the ability to do it. Now it's just, instead of questioning the ability and the science and the logistics of doing it, now it's just a matter of why would the government ever do that to their own people? So we've gone from that notion to that notion, just like we went before the outbreak occurred from the notion of people like me telling everyone out there that they were going to go out of their way to create an outbreak so that they could get this technology inside of people's bodies, to that being the craziest conspiracy they've ever heard, to the whole thing going down and them thinking that it's just a mere coincidence that it happened in that amount of time between all of us talking about it coming, and then it actually happening. And then when they rolled out this cure for it all, it happened to be the same thing we were warning about, this same technology that could edit your genetic code. And then they said, now, why would the government want to do that to people? So in both cases, just like every case, we're seeing people now accepting in their mind, not realizing they're under mind control, that the technology is there, the government wants it there. They're believing in the existence of it all of a sudden, but they're still questioning the motive of the government. And this really comes down to tribalism, right? That's the new hot term that we keep hearing them talk about, tribalism. It's a reality that people don't want to admit that they're wrong. And this isn't a matter of admitting you're wrong. I couldn't care less about people being wrong about the topic. It's time to become awake to the topic before it's too late for all of us. But people are so stubborn, they don't want to go, you know what, I was duped. But guess what? I was duped. Everybody listening to this channel at some point on this earth was likely duped. We weren't born awake. We were born into this simulated reality. We were born into this fake conception of what is real, right? Going to the school systems, thinking that all this stuff they taught us was the real deal. Then we all woke up to it. People out there need to realize this is not a thing about you and your pride and us and our pride. It's about realizing that there are monsters among us. Monsters who have the ability to do things like they just did in Dubai, just way worse. They are manipulating the weather, and it's not just in Dubai. These hurricanes, these tornadoes, these earthquakes, these tsunamis are all being caused and created by them. And guess what? So are those wildfires that are very clearly direct energy weapons. So after seeing this stuff in Dubai, of course, more people, like after what we saw in Maui, started saying, hey, all right, wait a minute. I mean, there's some of these conspiracy nuts, like this guy Rebel Call, or whatever his name is these days. He's pointing out that they actually have admitted that they have the technology to do it and that they're doing it. So let me think for a second. And in between that split second of them thinking, thankfully, we have our trusted meteorologists come out and let us know that, yeah, cloud seeding is real, but they can promise us and guarantee us that it's not being used here, that this is just merely something that was caused by this thing called climate change. Don't connect the dots between the sudden emergence of climate change and the weird weather and then the government's ability to control it at a time period where Republican or Democrat, you should be able to identify a rogue government of psychopaths. No matter what your stance is politically, you could see them letting crime run amok, leaving the border open, all these things that they're doing to destroy infrastructure. You should really easily be able to see and decipher that the government is using weather manipulation like they did in Katrina, like they did in Maui. They are using all the weapons they have and blaming it on climate change. Here is some meteorologists, including Sky News in Australia, who is looked at as a conservative outlet that gives you real truth, unlike the liberal media. It shows you it's all controlled, and they never, ever, ever will wake everybody up out there to what's really going on, which is the Democrats and the Republicans working together to sabotage all the governments so they can have this tyrannical globalist government which will enslave all of us. Look at these guys, thankfully giving us the truth because we could trust them about what really happened.
Now, what's blowing up the internet right now is that question. Was it cloud seeding? Well, the UAE does have a cloud seeding program, but I can tell you cloud seeding can only slightly, a teeny bit, enhance rainfall. It can't cause a rain bomb like we saw across the desert.
Not to mention, cloud seeding is based on a natural phenomenon, condensation nuclei, and we had a ton of dust in this area. This is an aerial view of the dust that was moving over Dubai, and so this is Mother Nature's cloud seeding. It could have acted as a force for the water to gather around those and make for the bigger droplets of water as well.
Yeah, I mean, if in fact there was cloud seeding, it would have been completely overwhelmed by all of that natural cloud seeding. There was a ton of dust, and so again, cloud seeding, it's possible that they did it, but it would have had a very minimal impact on that system. It was a natural system, likely enhanced by climate change.
So much rain in such a dry country has led to speculation that it was caused by cloud seeding. The United Arab Emirates regularly sends planes into clouds to scatter tiny particles in the hope that they will draw together moisture and form raindrops. But not this time, said the authorities, and a British scientist says it was a natural weather event turbocharged by climate change.
It was a well-predicted storm. People knew there would be severe rain. Most severe rainfall events occur because weather systems get stuck. And indeed, this was a strongly developing but also slowly moving system. And it sort of all accumulates then, and we were unlucky that it accumulates over heavily populated areas.
Now, there has been a lot of speculation on social media about what exactly caused this. Earlier in the year, Dubai actually picked up some headlines for their cloud seeding program. This was not the case yesterday. This was from a good old-fashioned upper-level low, which was parked over parts of Iran, Saudi Arabia, and, of course, Iraq as well. Out ahead of it, showers and storms broke out, and this just caused training of heavy showers and thunderstorms yesterday, and that's what caused the flooding in Dubai, not cloud seeding. And this is clear as day on global satellite. You can see there's that upper-level low spinning over Iran yesterday. Out ahead of it, numerous showers and storms lighting up. These trained over Dubai yesterday, causing that heavy rain and severe weather. So definitely would say that this was more about the actual weather pattern than cloud seeding over Dubai.
It was crazy. You know, I've been to Dubai dozens of times. I don't think I've ever seen a drop of rain. So yes, when you see 5.5 inches over the course of 24 hours, you can see what damage this resulted in, because they're just simply not prepared for this kind of rainfall in that short a time. Now, what caused it? A huge storm is the simplest answer. There have been a few reports about cloud seeding that was going on, and the UAE say, yeah, we do seed clouds because obviously they need rainwater in that area, and it's a way to produce that. But one official from Dubai said, we'd be crazy to seed those clouds. They saw what was coming. They just had no idea it was going to be like that.
So thankfully, these experts have let us know there's no way that cloud seeding would do it. And of course, we had one of the guys even tell us, why would we do that? I don't know. Why would the government ever flood their citizens? I mean, I could think of a million ways. In fact, CNBC even tells us 2 months ago, they aired this about cloud seeding in the UAE to turn the desert green, right? But they don't want to drown people. They don't want to destroy current infrastructure to rebuild and bring in smart cities, et cetera, et cetera. They only want a cloud seed because they want more trees. They only want a cloud seed because they want to help the civilians farm better, right? That's what they really want. They're not greedy psychopaths. There's nothing that they do to show us that they are, right? In fact, let me just play this clip for you from CNBC from 2 months ago. They aired this where they literally talk about and break down how they manipulate the weather without ever clarifying and saying, who gave you the authority You were elected supposedly to, make sure infrastructure and all that stuff was going okay. Did anybody out there who was supposedly voting in any of these countries, did they actually think or know that they were giving the government the ability to create rain and clouds and weather, and we're trusting them with this? Are you joking me? Look at this garbage.
But in January 2015, the UAE cabinet approved the UAE Green Agenda for 2030, aimed at building a green economy. Proponent of cloud seeding technology, they used it to manipulate weather, to protect farming areas, and to guarantee clear skies for key events. The UAE performs around 1,000 hours of cloud seeding to enhance rainfall in just 1 year, and it's all controlled in this building, the National Center of Meteorology in Abu Dhabi, where they track the whole process. We met with a cloud seeding expert to explain how the seeding process works.
We wait the forecast. When we have a good chance for a cloud, we send the aircraft to that location. It go under the cloud. In the first stage of the cloud, there is good updraft at that time, start to release all the salt, and with the good updraft, of course, it will go inside the cloud and start to condensate, and the droplets will become bigger and start to rain.
The center manufactures a salt substance that helps enhance rainfall. They put them in what they call flares.
Operation 219.
We also spoke to one of the weather forecasters. He explains how the operations work.
We align our pilots to be on the airports and tell them when to be at the airport. So as expected, we wait for the clouds to appear on the radar, and there we have our pilots talking to us. Let me know if there is any updrafts in your area.
This is a sample plane here at the National Center of Meteorology, but the real planes fly out from the runways in Al Ain.
We have around 110 automatic weather stations. It gives us data, like meteorological data, every 15 minutes.
The information on the screen tracks wind, speed, and direction, while satellite imagery monitors clouds to track fog and dust.
Anything passing over the country, we can see it from the satellite, especially like the clouds.
And this is the map of the UAE.
So you look at this stuff, it's amazing how they sit there with such arrogance. And it's amazing how the people who try to call us all nuts sit there and these people can show you them forming clouds, right? Not to mention, of course, the stuff that they won't talk about, which is the nanotechnology in this cloud seeding, okay? Along with the barium and the aluminum and the graphene oxide and all of this other technology that's actually floating in the air and our skin is absorbing that they won't mention. They just give you a little bit of a vague understanding of cloud seeding, but it's amazing that they're now telling us this. We're now seeing stuff where it's a direct hit, right? Where the UAE is like, we need to make Dubai, more rain in Dubai. Then they get, and this is a place that literally in that clip tells you about Agenda 2030 and what the plans are, right? Because every single thing going on ties into Agenda 2030. Right? So they're telling you Agenda 2030. People just go, I don't know what that means. Right? We're all yelling about Agenda 2030. How their foot's on the gas pedal. How the outbreak was a part of Agenda 2030. How these fake cyber attacks that are coming and grid shutdowns are part of Agenda 2030. And how weather manipulation is a part of it. And then eventually as 2030 hits, your carbon footprint is in place after all the destruction is done. That's how this whole thing works. And on the other side of 2030 begins your enslavement. It begins your prison sentence, where you can't come and go as you please, where every step is digitally monitored, and you think it's for your benefit, and then you're just happy that you don't have to go through the chaos anymore that these people deliberately created, that none of this would be going on without these people. None of this division would be going on. None of this weather manipulation would be going on. None of it would be going on without this small group of people that we've apparently entrusted with the ability to manipulate storms, rain. Nobody knows this is even going on, let alone the fact that this wasn't on a ballot, was it? Well, of course it wasn't on a ballot. And even if it was, would it matter? Because your vote doesn't count. So where is the jurisdiction on this? Where is the jurisdiction? Because now look, I've been saying for a long time, a lot of the people that you listen to, I'm sure the people who listen to this channel and everything you've studied, everybody's aware of chemtrail and cloud seeding. If you're not, you're just blindly telling yourself it's not happening. Now we have the government talking about this openly, right? The video I just did on Tennessee. Tennessee is talking about, we're going to ban it in our state. So you're admitting then. We have politicians admitting that cloud seeding's real, that chemtrails are real. Oh, well, it's a conspiracy. Oh, okay, what? Huh? Oh, and now we have the mainstream media admitting that the government in Dubai is forming rain with cloud seeding, which is their confession that the technology exists, right? So now it's a matter of how do we make sure we spin this so that people like me, who eventually will be silenced again, because we all know how this goes, how do we spin it so people like me can't reach people into seeing the characteristics of the people in power so that you realize that this type of technology should not be in their hands. This is ungoverned. This is unregulated technology. The same with AI. It's the same thing. They keep coming out. They're like, AI is going to kill humanity. AI is taking jobs away. Well, who is empowering this? How are we allowing humans to make this technology if we know that it's going to make human beings suffer, right? But everyone's too busy being distracted and hating each other to say, hey, as humans, we should probably prevent this because we should all, want to have jobs so we could eat, live, survive. But again, that's a mindset that's out the window because we see cancel culture and nobody cares if anybody out there could feed themselves or their family anymore, or they just want to cancel each other because they disagree with them because they're such pansy asses, right? This is what we're living among right now. This is what we're living among. People who see this story in Dubai, who literally now have been told, they're being told that the government could make it rain, right? We've been telling people for decades this, and they've called us nuts. So maybe when they see a story like this, they'll go, oh, they have the ability, but they won't. They won't. They'll go in one ear, out the other. They'll be like, that doesn't mean anything. Because they told me on the news that, well, they could do that, but it would never make a storm that big. Oh, okay, because it would never make a storm that big. How do you know that? Oh, because they told me on the news. Oh, and these are the same people on the news that tell you that everybody's racist, that everybody should be canceled, that we should allow criminals to run amok because they deserve a second chance and a third chance and a fourth chance and a fifth chance. And this is a government that cares about us, right? Well, your party cares about you. That's what they tell you. Your party does. So stay affiliated and aligned with your party like a good little communist. So this type of stuff drives me nuts. It drives me nuts because it's them confessing to you, right? So when they confess this to you and they tell you they can do this, what should occur is you should say, okay, they have the ability to do it. Now, from a psychological standpoint, whatever your political affiliation is, you should look at it and say, well, would you trust the other political party then with that? Would Democrats trust Donald Trump with this type of tech and Republicans? They'd say no. And Republicans would say the same thing about Democrats, right? So what we should say is, if you have the ability to do it, how do we know you're not doing it now? Well, because we tell you, we give you our word. Don't we show you that we're trustworthy people? As we call our own citizens terrorists in every country now? As in America, you're a terrorist if you talk about anything that questions the news. If you question a story about an event that happens at a school that looks very suspicious, you're a terrorist? Shouldn't that ring alarms in people's minds of what the government is doing here? While they're dividing us amongst each other, silencing people like me because they don't want you to wake up to people/demons like them. This is what needs to happen when people see this. They need to start saying to themselves, wow, this tech is really real. And then ask yourself if you trust these people. Really trust them. I mean, I know people look at their political party and then they automatically have to respect it and they have to praise it. That's kind of the new thing they formed in this communist society. It's like if a Democrat questions Biden, they're like, he's not a true Democrat, right? And if you're a conservative and you're not supporting Trump, what do they call you? A rhino or something like that, right? That's done by design so that you don't, as a human being, look at these people and say, you know what? I don't want any part of a bunch of billionaires who aren't even elected, who are selecting each other and putting them in a position of power, then acting this stuff out. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm sick of the stress. I'm sick of the anxiety. I'm sick of not being friends with people I used to be friends with anymore because I didn't take a certain something in my body or I have a different stance than them on Planned Parenthood. Everybody should be going and saying that. Everyone should be going to each other and saying, you know what? These people are doing something. They're up to something. This ability to manipulate the weather at the same time they're admitting this, we're seeing all these storms run rampant, from wildfires to earthquakes to tsunamis to tornadoes daily, then you should go, okay, maybe there's a chance then that it's these people. And it's not this thing they call climate change, because that's too convenient of an answer to the problems when we know the government uses HAARP. Now they admit to cloud seeding. What else will they admit to? And how dumb will these people continue to be to let the government admit to this technology, admit to having it, admit to using it? And then how dumb can these people be to believe the government when they say, but we're not doing that? Time will only tell. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always and your families.